The first time 8-year-old Ria saw snow, she cried. Not because it was beautiful, but because she couldn't feel it on her legs. She sat in her wheelchair outside the orphanage gate, wrapped in 3 sweaters, watching the other children run and fall and scream with laughter. Snowflakes melted on her cheeks like tiny apologies. That was the day Mr. Aryan Malhotra, the man every newspaper called India's coldest billionaire, walked into her life wearing a charcoal coat and no smile. Ria had heard the whispers. The richest man in the country was coming to adopt a child for image management. The older girls fixed their hair. The boys practiced saluting. Ria just pushed her chair closer to the radiator and opened her sketchbook. She was drawing a mother, long hair, gentle eyes, arms strong enough to lift the world. She drew the same mother every day, even though she had never met hers. When Aryan Malhotra stepped into the playroom, every child froze except Ria. She kept coloring. He noticed. Of course he noticed. Men like him notice everything that doesn't behave the way it's supposed to. What's your name? His voice was low, like expensive whiskey poured over ice. Ria, she answered without looking up. And before you ask, no, I don't want to be adopted by you. The room gasped. The caretaker almost fainted. Aryan Malhotra raised one eyebrow, the smallest movement, but on his face it looked like an earthquake. And why is that? He asked. Ria finally lifted her eyes. They were dark, fierce, ancient for an 8-year-old. Because you're only adopting a child to look kind on magazine covers. I'm not a prop. And also, she took a shaky breath. Please don't adopt me. Adopt my mom instead. Now even the snow outside seemed to stop falling. Aryan crouched, actually crouched, so his eyes were level with hers. You have a mother? Yes, Ria said, chin high. She just doesn't know it yet. That was how it began. Her real mother's name was Kavya Sharma, 29 years old, single, and the most terrifying CEO Delhi had ever seen. They called her the Ice Queen. She wore black suits sharper than knives and heels that could kill a man's ego in 3 clicks. Her company, Aurora Tech, had just gone public and was worth more than most small countries. She had no time for love, no space for softness, and absolutely no idea that somewhere in a crumbling orphanage, a little girl in a wheelchair was praying for her every night. Ria had found Kavya by accident 6 months earlier. A social worker had left a magazine open on the table. On the cover, Kavya Sharma, the woman who owns the future. The face was older, colder, but the eyes. Those eyes were the ones Ria drew every day. She knew it the way you know thunder belongs to rain. That was her mother. She was sure. She started writing letters she never sent. She stole newspapers. She learned everything. Kavya had been 17 when she had a baby. The boy she loved disappeared. Her Orthodox family threw her out. She gave the baby up because she had nothing, no money, no home, no hope. Then she built an empire from the ruins, brick by cold brick, until no one could hurt her again. Ria understood walls. She had plenty of her own. Meanwhile, Aryan Malhotra could not stop thinking about the girl who told him no. In boardrooms he zoned out remembering her voice. At night he opened the orphanage file again and again. Name, Ria Sharma. Mother, Kavya Sharma, parental rights terminated. Father, unknown. Medical, spinal injury at birth, permanent paraplegia. He told himself he was doing research. He lied well, he'd been lying to himself for 15 years, ever since his wife and 5-year-old daughter died in a car he was driving. He went back to the orphanage 3 times without admitting why. The 4th time he brought hot chocolate and a tablet loaded with design apps because Ria had said she wanted to be an architect who builds houses where wheelchairs feel welcome. On the 5th visit he said, I'm adopting you. Ria looked at him for a long time. Only if you adopt my mother too. I can't adopt a grown woman, Rhea. Then find a way, she said, or I stay here. Children are brutal negotiators. Aryan Malhotra, who had never lost a negotiation in his life, lost one to an 8-year-old with crooked ponytails and steel in her spine. He started digging. Quietly. Ruthlessly. He bought the building after building until he owned the entire block where Aurora Tech was headquartered. Then he scheduled a meeting. Kavya Sharma walked into the conference room expecting to tear apart whichever arrogant man thought he could buy her company. Instead she found Aryan Malhotra leaning against the window, snow falling behind him like forgiveness. I'm not selling, she said before he spoke. I'm not buying, he answered. I'm here about your daughter. The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. Kavya's face turned white beneath her perfect makeup. You have exactly 30 seconds to explain before I have you thrown out. She's 8. She's in a wheelchair. She draws you every day. And she refuses to let me adopt her unless I bring you home too. Kavya laughed, a sharp, ugly sound. Nice try. My daughter was adopted years ago by a family in Canada. I made sure she would be safe and far away from me. She wasn't, Aryan said quietly. There was a paperwork error. She ended up in a state home. She's been in Delhi the whole time. He slid a photograph across the table. Rhea, grinning, missing 2 front teeth, holding a diyar. The next day Aryan received a text from an unknown number. Unknown, don't adopt her. Aryan, too late. Papers are ready. She still says no without you. Unknown, then tell her I'm dead. Aryan, she'll know you're lying. She's smarter than both of us. 5 minutes later his doorbell rang. He opened it to find Kavya Sharma on his doorstep in a black coat, cheeks red from cold, eyes red from crying. I hate you, she said. I know, he answered. She's really mine? Come see. He drove her to the orphanage himself. They didn't speak. When they reached the gate, Rhea was waiting outside as always, sketching in the snow with her finger. Kavya stopped breathing. Rhea looked up. For a moment the world held still. Then the little girl whispered, Ma. Kavya fell to her knees in the snow, coat ruined, makeup ruined, heart ruined. Rhea wheeled forward as fast as she could, and Kavya met her halfway, arms open, sobbing like the 17-year-old girl she had never been allowed to be. Aryan stood back and let them have their first minute of forever. But healing is not a single moment. It's 1,000 moments after. Kavya wanted to take Rhea home immediately. Rhea refused to leave unless Uncle Aryan came too. Aryan pretended to be annoyed. He moved into the guest wing of Kavya's glass and steel penthouse that same week. The first month was war. Kavya didn't know how to be soft. She bought Rhea everything, a new wheelchair, tutors, clothes, but forgot to ask what she actually wanted. Rhea had night terrors about being left again. Aryan became the buffer, the storyteller, the one who knew how to braid hair because he'd done it for his own daughter a lifetime ago. Kavya watched him lift Rhea onto the kitchen counter so she could stir cake batter and felt something crack inside her chest. She started coming home early. She burned dinner 3 times trying to cook. Rhea's favorite aloo paratha. Aryan taught her without laughing much. One night Rhea had a fever. Kavya sat by he.